Welcome into the Goal with Marcus Wood. It's our weekly coaching show. This week we're going inside the DBU Women's soccer team, joined alongside Marcus Wood, head coach for the Patriots, Kenzi Tufts, a center back, and sophomore Leslie Yu, a redshirt freshman and goalkeeper. Patriots are 11-0. It's the first time in program history. What a start to this season. Going into this year, you had some big shoes to fill. A two-time All-American, Kenzi's sister, and Taylor. Really a strong senior class. This is a young team. You've got some veteran players, but what has been some of the factors that you can point to behind the success that you're having?
We were fully expecting to have learning curve, that there was going to be a lot of sophomores and freshmen playing, and there is a learning curve, but we've been able to have learning curve while getting some results. And a big part of the success is their class and the freshman class have stepped into big roles, and especially when we had Hannah Montoya and Julie Benson out early in the year. Now we're starting 3 or 4 freshmen. The whole starting lineup was had a priority of underclassmen. And for the underclassmen to step in and get results while still learning a lot of things about the game speaks volume for who they are.
You got 2 big reasons behind the success that you're having right here with you today, Kenzi and Leslie. I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you were an opposing coach,
Sure.
and you had to put together a scouting report, you've got a great center back here, outstanding goalkeeper. What are the things that you're saying about these 2?
Well, when you're playing as DBU, you have to pick your poison because there are problems everywhere. And so if you want to take away Kenzi and you want to put a lot of pressure on her goal, well, we got a lot of things on the other end too. There's 3 Ferraris up front, right, waiting to go. So Kenzi just great on the ball, a great decision maker, and then also a defender that's tough to beat. She faced a lot of extremely fast forwards and been able to shut them down. And if they ever beat them, which is rare, I think Leslie got 9 saves on the year or something like that. So it's 9 saves in 11 games and conceded 1 goal in 11 games. In the rare time to get past, Leslie's ready. The UCCS was probably the busiest that our goalkeepers have been, and Leslie was ready when those times came.
I want to go inside each of your journeys because you both had really unique and cool stories. And Kenzi, let's start with you. You played at nearby South Lake Carolina, top programs. How special was that program? You were a part of a team as your junior season that was the best in the country.
Yes. So my sophomore year, we ended up winning a state championship, which was awesome. And I think we only lost 1 game that year, but I think that loss held that helped us a lot. You have to lose a game before your team gets better, but I think that helped us a lot. And growing up playing with such great players who Kennedy Fuller is now a pro, Zoe Matthews now a pro, Hannah Jordan, Penn State, such big players, it makes me a better player myself. And so I just think that just helped me a lot.
You had to deal with an ACL injury late in your senior season, where you missed the playoff run. One, how painful was that to deal with at this point in your career? But then to see you come back, the ACLs just take 9 months. You come back in 6 months, and you're ready to play for the Patriots postseason run last year. But let's take us through the wave of emotion, and what was your determination to get back on the pitch?
Well, definitely sucked having that ACL tear in the second to last district game, but I've been through it once before, so I knew how the process was going to go, and Taylor's obviously been through it twice, so we've kind of knew the rhythm and got some good information on a good physical therapist to go to. Went through him 5 times a week the first go, drove 30 minutes every single day, and I knew I wanted to get back sort of quick, but I didn't want to rush it because you can re-tear things really easily, and so it was a safe but quick recovery, but I was hardworking all summer.
And she comes back, plays a big role. The Patriots run last year in the postseason. Both your starts there in the conference tournament and the regional. You hadn't missed a start since, so it's been great to see you out there. How about Leslie? I want to ask you, when you first saw Leslie, tell me about that story, because you got to see her on the club stage, really in a big performance, and what stood out to you about her?
So the starting point was she came to our ID camp and was a rock star. And so then we said, well, okay, let's test that at a real level. And they're playing the St. Louis Sky Gallery, one of the best teams, the national champs, and one of the best teams in the country. We're going to have a pretty good stage to see a goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is going to be busy. And when we were that was a game with, there was literally 100 college coaches on the field. Some of the best coaches at Florida State and North Carolina are right behind her goal. And that can be a nerve-wracking thing. But she just was calm as can be, and they got the shutout and tied one of the best teams in the country. And that really stood out to us of, even at that stage as a 17-year-old, she's pretty composed and pretty focused on her tasks.
Leslie, you come in last year, redshirt as a freshman. Early on this season, you're splitting time and goal. Now you've started the last couple of weeks. When you think back to that moment and also to winning a state championship in high school, Take us through your development. How far do you feel like you've come now in your second season on a collegiate level?
So in high school and in club, obviously the game it's quick, but it's not as fast as college soccer. And I think you just kind of had to grow into the role of like, oh, I need to be like a solid factor on this back line. Like I need to be someone who communicates, someone who's like there if they need me. And so I just had to grow to be more explosive, be like a stronger presence on the back line and be able to communicate better in that leadership role. And that's been the biggest development for me. It's just the game's so much quicker in college and I got to step up to that level whenever I get called up.
You're doing a remarkable job. Patriots had 7 consecutive shots before finally allowing the goal. You give up the goal early to UT Dallas last time out. You're down 1-0. First time you've really been kind of challenged to have to come back other than in your season opener when you got down early. You score 4 straight goals. Ann Loughton, what a performance. I'm pretty sure just about what she's doing on the pitch. I mean, here's someone that's kind of been asked to play somewhat of a new role this year. One, what are you seeing from her and allowing her to make the jump that she's making this year? And then two, how special was what you saw last Wednesday from her?
Yeah, it's a big part is her just a heart for her team. She's playing with everything she has. She cares deeply about her teammates, and she's playing her heart out. She's got a primarily defensive role in the midfield. If you were to say, well, who's going to score 4 goals in the game, you usually wouldn't expect to be a midfielder who's having to do all this defensive work. And she scored in such a variety of ways. But it was just sheer heart. And when there's a moment, she's going to see it. One of her great skill sets is her movement and their timing of her movement, and just recognizing when there's space and getting into it. And then we're having teammates that are doing a good job of finding her at just the right time as well. And that's probably what we're most after right now, is finding complementary pieces. And in that game, maybe there were several that started to come together.
Yeah, it did. Patriots win 4-1. They're now 11-0 on the season. But a big reason is what you're doing on the defensive side. We talked about the 7 shutouts in a row, 1 game shy of a record. How about in front of you, just as a goalkeeper? You watch the communication between Kenzi and Parker. I can't imagine there being a better center back tandem in the country. You've got 2 really strong outside backs as well. But what does that communication look like on a game night between goalkeeper, Kenzi, Parker? How does that all come together?
So I feel like a lot of college goalkeepers here are expected to make a few saves a game. I am in a different situation. I have 2 amazing center backs who keep me from having to do that. So my role definitely changes because of them, and I am grateful for that. They're doing an amazing job. But now my role is more like a communicator and someone they can play the ball back to if they need to. I have to use my feet more than I use my hands in a game typically. So I'm just there to help them when they need it. If they need to slide over, I'll tell them because I can see the field, and sometimes they can't see everything behind them. Mm-hmm. But they do a great job communicating on their own too. They don't need my help most of the time. They make my job very easy in the goal. So,
it's very rare at Parity that you would see 2 center backs that had 8 goals on the season. Kenzi has 4 of those, 2 on a couple of penalty cases. But I'm always impressed with what you do too on the offensive side. Your ability to push forward, to be able to create. How exciting is it to be in a system where you're able to do some of that?
Very exciting. Growing up, I played more of like the attacking mid, and then when I went to my senior year in high school, I shifted to holding mid. So I kind of grew up in the midfield area. So I've kind of grew up on the attacking side as well. So I think that is an advantage as a center back. Also, you can be defensively.
She does a remarkable job. Add that here. I'm going to go back again. Put yourself in the shoes of another coach. When you're having to deal with a system like this, and you've got the playmakers, 2 outstanding center backs, 2 outside backs, and push forward, particularly with what you've got there with Parker and Kenzi, their ability to push forward. How difficult does that make on an opposing team?
And a lot of it's well beyond coaching, because what they can do is they can get out of pressure. We would rather teach a defender to defend. We'd like to take a midfielder and put him in the back and teach him to defend. I mean, that's the easier task. And try to teach someone to make. You can't teach what Kenzi and Parker do in terms of decision making. So even when a coach is coached really well and puts them into really bad positions, it just happens multiple times throughout the year, they usually get out of it. They solve it. So it's beyond a lot of times what a coach can do. They're just so good on the ball and such decision makers. And that's the key to our style of soccer. Our style of soccer is based on those 2.
Yeah. You got a big test on Wednesday. You go on the road. It's a Texas women's team that's right there in the thick of this conference race. Right now, you're the lone team that's undefeated in conference play, but there's work to be done on Wednesday. What kind of challenge today, Paris?
let's even just start with the challenge of being a student athlete. It's a Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. There's travel. There's missed class, and there are going to be doctors, and maybe that school, maybe that kinesiology test isn't so forgiving if you don't study for it. So the challenges of being a student athlete are just unbelievable. To just put yourself in the mental headspace to be able to compete, and then what you're going to compete against is a team you're the biggest game on the schedule, and they've got you circled, and they're fired up and they're excited. They have a huge crowd, and their coach has a great game plan. So I think it's just so difficult week after week to be a student athlete. I'm so impressed with what these two and then all their teammates do of consistently showing up. I'm confident that if we show up with our right mindset, that we're going to be in the fight, it's going to be a great game. And most seasons I've had days where saying, man, this isn't our team. Where are they? But also that's kind of understandable based on all the things they go through in a typical week.
You bring up a great point. Student athletes. You've got 2 pre-med biology majors that are 4.0 students.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What they're doing in the classroom as well.
It is. They're mad if they get a B ever. Like if they get a B on a test, it's the end of the world. And I don't know if they either have ever seen a B. I don't know if they know what that looks like. I know what a B looks like. But how they go about their day-to-day challenges, it's an extreme blessing. Go back to our athletics verse, the Colossians 3:23. I think that's a very helpful piece for both of them, where that they work heartily with joy for the Lord, and that's kind of how they can go about their difficult tests. If they're trying to please other people or trying to, it just becomes too much and too overwhelming. But I think they both keep God first. I think that's a big part of how they keep balance in their lives.
A lot to be proud of. Excited for this upcoming week. See the Patriots back in action on Wednesday when they're on the road against TWU. Get a chance to watch this Patriots team at home on Saturday when they take on Mother Christian at 2 o'clock. So for the goal for Marcus Wood, Kenzi Tufts, Leslie Miller, I'm Ray United.